Welcome to Season 2 of The Kath Vincent Show, and once again we have a fabulous lineup of guests to energise and inspire you.
It's time to wake up your wow with your host, international award-winning speaker, Kath Vincent.
On the show tonight, we hear from renowned stem cell biologist and health pioneer Bruce Lipton, who will tell us how to live a healthy and truly blissful life. Dr. Leanne Lawrence tells us how guided meditation can reduce stress and improve sleep patterns. And social media guru Juanita Furi shares practical tips for making your business work online. And in the Wild Records music slot, we hear from 15-year-old Shania Lee Sadie. All this and more to wake up your wow. So Bruce, I am so excited that you're here with us today.
I am also very excited because I love the audience here, and all the people in your community are the new creators of the world, of the future that we're experiencing.
Well, you are renowned for being one of those pioneers because you championed the idea that it's actually our beliefs, not our DNA, that affects our biology.
Absolutely. It staggers my mind that it actually turned out that way, because I was teaching in medical school, teaching about genetic control, all the things that people have learned that they're victims of their heredity. And what my research on stem cells revealed is that genes don't control anything. Rather than being victims of our heredity, we now recognize we're masters of our genetic fate, because we can change our beliefs, our environment, our mind, and those are the things that control our biology.
So we're masters of our genetic fate.
Absolutely, and this is really such a turnaround because it's a revolution, because everyone says, my family has a cancer gene, and I can get that cancer, and now I'm very scared the rest of my life about the cancer. And the fact is, no, that's not really true at all. Genes don't cause cancer. Matter of fact, genes are only responsible for less than 1% of disease on this planet. So 99% of the illness on this planet is not because of a physical breakdown of the machine. It's really due to what I call driver error. And the relevance about it is, when we believe the genes were controlling, then the genes were the driver of our lives.
Yeah.
But now we recognize the mind is controlling it. And if we had good programming, like good driver education, how to take care of our health and how to take care of our biology and the environment in which we live, then we recognize we are the ones that are controlling the outcome. So if you have bad driver education, bad care about your health, you will then break down the machine. And then we blame the machine. Because we've always said, the genes did that, but now we know it's our beliefs in our mind that are controlling the genes.
So when you say less than 1% is caused by your genes, less than 1% of disease, what's causing disease?
Actually, lifestyle, what it is, it's sort of like, let's say you get two cars off an assembly line, they're built exactly the same, and you give one to a hothead kid, teenager, and you give one to an adult, more mature, and then you let them go and you say, well, come down the road later, which vehicle is healthier, which one's still on the road? And you'll find that the hothead teenager car will be more likely to be in the junkyard faster than the other one. I say, well, what's the difference? I say, well, the body is a vehicle, and we are driving the vehicle. If you don't know how to drive in harmony with your biology, you don't have good driver skills, that causes a breakdown of the machine. And up to now, we've been blaming the breakdown as a consequence of a defect in the mechanism.
Yeah.
When in fact, no, you're just inappropriately driving it.
Okay, so how do you get to be a really good driver of your biology?
Well, the first thing is to be aware that your thoughts and your beliefs and how you interact with the world are actually affecting your genetic expression.
Yeah.
And it's really this whole mind-body thing. And for years, conventional science, which I was a part of, really just poo-pooed the idea of mind-body. But now we recognize the real control comes from when you have a thought in your mind, your brain releases chemistry.
Yeah.
Okay? So like emotions, for example, if you have a thought of being in love, you can feel the wonderful glow and the chemistry, because the brain is releasing chemicals that complement love. But if all of a sudden something shocks you or scares you, for that moment, you can feel the chemistry in your body change as you can feel butterflies in the stomach, or weird, or some kind of tingly in your body when things aren't working right. I say, yeah, because when the brain is in fear, it releases all different kinds of chemicals. So your body is responding to the chemistry of your thoughts. And most of us, and the issue is now clear, 90% of the illnesses, or 90% of the reasons why people go to a doctor is now due to stress. And stress is like driving your car with one foot on the brake and one on the gas. You're going to break something.
Yeah.
Yes.
So if your mind can control your biology, how do you change your thinking to be positive?
Well, this is the biggest issue, is because we're very confused. When we say the mind, it's actually two parts. There's a conscious mind, which is connected to you as your personal identity, maybe the seat of your spirit, the conscious mind. It's creative. And there's the subconscious mind, which is 90% of the brain, but that's more habit.
Yeah.
And the issue about it is we believe that, I'm running my life with my creative mind, which is the one with wishes and desires. So I say, Kath, tell me what you want out of your life. And if you give me, I want to be healthy, I want to be in a great relationship, I want a great job, I go, that comes from creative thinking, conscious mind. Well, unfortunately, science has now revealed that we are only using the conscious creative mind 5% of the time, and 95% of our biology is coming from subconscious programming. And that programming came into our lives before we were 7.
Right.
The story I tell in lectures very quickly is I say, well, I'm sure you were familiar with a friend when you were growing up. You knew your friend's behavior very, very well, and you happen to know your friend's parent. And one day you see your friend has the same behavior as their parent, and you get all excited. You want to tell somebody, you go, hey, Bill, you're just like your dad. And then you back away from Bill. Bill goes totally ballistic, says, how can you compare me to my dad? And everyone laughs, and I go, well, it's a funny story. It's the most important story in the whole world because, number one, we are all Bill.
Yeah.
Meaning, Bill, everyone else can see that Bill is behaving like his dad. The only one who doesn't see it is Bill. And I say, well, how does that work? And the answer is because he downloaded the behavior from observing his father before 7. And then 95% of the day when his mind's thinking, he defaults to the behavior that he got from his father. So he's playing his father's behavior, but he's the one that doesn't see it. And the reason is why? Because the only reason he's playing it is he's not paying attention because he's thinking. So he's the only one that doesn't see he's doing this behavior. And I go, well, we're all Bill. And what it means is 95% of the day, we're operating from programs that we got before 7 years of age, which came from other people, observing other people and downloading their behavior.
Yeah.
And then we worry about, well, how come my wishes and desires that I seek every day when I wake up and want to go forward in the world, I have a hard time getting there? And the answer is because 95% of the time you don't see, you're sabotaging yourself with behavior that will not support that destination.
So suppose you wake up and you go, oh my goodness, I've turned into my mom or my dad or whoever, and I can see that I'm doing it.
Yes.
Isn't
that annoying?
I know. How do you stop yourself from doing that?
Well, the first thing is becoming consciously aware. As you said, I observed myself doing it. Well, the subconscious mind is the habit mind.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's you learn a habit, and then when you repeat and repeat, it will just download the behavior. So guess what? Every time you observe yourself behaving like your mom, let's say, you say, oh wait, stop, that's not what I want. And what you're going to do is you're going to change the direction of that thought.
Yeah.
Every time you catch yourself doing that, it's like learning from a repetition.
Right.
And after a number of times of doing that, the mind will not automatically play that behavior because it already knows the moment you play it, you're going to want to change that behavior. So it acquires a new habit. The new habit is before playing that behavior, it will redirect itself to whatever the new program you were looking for.
Right. So in the same way that you can start a new habit, which is not behaving like your mum or your mom, as you say, you can also do the same and impact your health.
In every level, and this is the most important thing, as I said, we have been programmed to believe that when we have an ill health problem, a dis-ease, we've been programmed to believe that we're victims of a machine going out of control.
Yeah.
And now we have to turn that whole thing around and say, wait, I am in control of this machine.
Yes.
And that I can change it at any time if I become conscious of it. And it's very interesting because, as I said, on a regular day-to-day life, 95% of the day we're operating from programs that we got from other people. And then I say, there's one time in your life where you actually don't do that. And I say, well, when is that? And I say, when you fall deeply in love with somebody.
Aww.
That's the beginning, called the honeymoon. And I say, well, what's unique about the honeymoon? Well, recognize this. When people fall in love like that, number one, they become very healthy. We always say, oh, look, they're in love. See how they glow.
You look great.
Yeah,
exactly.
And it's like, well, why? Because the mind in love releases chemistry that supports health.
Yeah.
That's why love encourages health and love heals, okay?
Yeah.
And what we also find out is that when people fall in love, that's the one time that they stay mindful. They don't start thinking a lot. And I said, well, what happens then? Well, if you're not thinking, then your conscious mind is the one that's controlling. And I said, yeah, but that's the one with wishes and desires. So I say, so what happens when two people fall in love and at that moment stop playing the programs that have been limiting?
Yeah.
Okay? They both are now playing wishes and desires together. I say, well, what manifests from that? And the answer is heaven on earth. That's what the honeymoon is all about.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I say, well, look, no matter how crummy your life was up until the moment you met this person, boom, your life changes. And I go, what's different? You stop playing the negative programs that were playing invisibly and sabotaging you. And so the first time in your life, you're operating without the program. And guess what you created? Heaven on earth.
So how do you stay in love? Because people, that honeymoon phase, and actually it's in your book right here, The Honeymoon Effect.
Yeah.
It's a short phase sometimes.
Well, it's a short phase, but there's a very logical reason. The answer is this. When I first fall in love, I stay mindful because that person that comes into my life, why should I let my mind wander when my whole life I was looking for this person? This person shows up. And it's like, well, why should I let my mind wander? They're right here. So we keep our mind present, and that's why we stay conscious and we're not defaulting. But then, regardless, life is still going on. Even if you fall in love, you still have a job, you have chores, you got bills to pay, things to do. And why I say, why is that relevant? Because the moment that those things start crowding in on your mind is the moment you default back to the old behavior. And remember, that subconscious behavior that you got from other people did not play during the honeymoon because you were playing from wishes and desires. Yeah. But now you're starting to think of something, and your partner you've had this great love with comes up and asks you a loving question, and you're in thought, and all of a sudden you go, blah, blah, blah. and then your partner looks at you and goes, who are you? What kind of behavior is that? And then you have to recognize, just like Bill, I played my father's behavior because my mind was thinking about the chores, right? But I didn't see what I just said because it was default behavior. So now my partner is saying, what kind of behavior is that? And I'm trying to think, what's she talking about? Why? I didn't see what I just said. So all of a sudden, guess what? That's the beginning of the breakdown of the honeymoon, because now all these behaviors that never played in the honeymoon, that are negative kinds of behaviors that we got from family and programming, they start showing up in a relationship, and guess what? That honeymoon, which was built on you being conscious, is being lost as the subconscious starts to provide more of the programs.
So in summary, one final tip for living a blissful honeymoon-based life that is full of health and vitality. What's your one tip?
Things I have trouble obtaining in my life, I have to recognize that I must have belief programs that sabotage getting to that end. And therefore I said, oh, well then I know what beliefs I want to change. I just look at my life and say, wherever the hardship is, that's a reflection of a belief.
Brilliant, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us, Bruce.
I so appreciate it, and I really want to thank you, and I want to thank the audience for their attention.
Thank you. Leanne, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now tell me, how did you get into this whole arena of really what's seen as quite alternative remedies?
Well, I'm a medical practitioner, and I've worked with people for many years. And I've become aware that as people visit the doctor, a lot of the problems that are brought are not solved by the usual tools that the medical school give us.
So you can't take a tablet for everything, basically?
No. So the solution to a lot of problems is not in that toolbox that came with my degree.
So you found that your toolbox didn't have everything you needed?
No, that was a problem.
What did you add?
Well, only when I became stressed myself did I become aware of guided meditation for helping reduce stress.
And what was the turning point for you where you think, well, actually, there's really something to this?
Well, I went for stress reduction. That's always a bit difficult to measure because the moment things become easier, we instantly forget how bad they were. Yeah. And so we can forget the improvement. But I also asked for help with snoring.
Oh. You can actually solve snoring this way?
Well,
I'm going to sort this out, actually, husband.
The audience is captivated. So I tried different things, but I thought, I'll add it to the therapy. And within one session, I noticed that all of these muscles, which are, especially when you're asleep, under the control of the unconscious part of the brain, were tightening it up, as if in me they'd been lazy.
So what was the process that you went through, the therapy, that led you to be able to solve snoring?
Just allowing someone to relax and allow the brain to begin to work differently, allow the secretion of the chemicals that are wanted, that have been requested. It's as simple as that, really.
So basically, when Bruce was talking about how your mindset can control your health, guided visualization is actually a tool to change that blueprint he talked about.
Well, for a start, I completely agree with what he said. And yes, I believe guided meditation is one of the stronger tools.
And your work with guided meditation has led you to actually work with children as well. How does that work for them?
Well, thinking particularly about bullying, where children can be vulnerable to hurtful words and no end of rationalisation about, oh, ignore it, it's just hurtful words, is going to stop their chemistry becoming involved in the bullying. And so through this technique, a child can get sort of an invisible protection whereby words are stopping before they're affecting their biology. So the words are heard, the child is aware of the words, but it's just no longer affecting them as it used to, and sort of releasing them from that bullying cycle.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've actually put a lot of this intelligence into a book. Tell me about the book.
Well, I'm very excited to condense the knowledge, because as a practitioner I can only talk to one person in front of me. I thought, this is not fast enough. And so I'd like families to use the book and see what they think. So it's designed for bedtime use. Parents can read it to their own children. So an opportunity for social interaction, that's really good. And also help settle the child to sleep, help the child learn to sleep, because sometimes sleep problems disturb the whole of the family's running, so to help the family run more smoothly and hopefully calmer children.
And your work's not just for children though, so have you got something for us to reduce our stress levels?
There are products coming online, and the first products are to help people going to hospital for scans, so to relax somebody for an MRI scan or a gastroscopy or colonoscopy, so something to help doctors.
I actually felt stress go through my body when you said that.
I'm
like, oh, no, gastroscopy. Yeah, so that would be awesome. And that's a free download?
Those are on the website.
Yeah. And so where can people go to find out more?
Well, I'd love people to take a look at my website and take advantage of the free download, Relax to Sleep. So an MP3 download to help people relax.
Brilliant. And if you're going to play the download, how long does it take to listen to?
15 minutes, but please don't listen in a car operating machinery, because it can be very powerful.
Okay, so it's a bedtime ritual, takes only 15 minutes out of your day, and it really will kickstart those positive benefits that we already heard Bruce talk about.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Leanne, and thank you for making those downloads available for our stress reduction. That's awesome. And as well as that, we have 20 of these fabulous books to give away. Just go to the website and enter the code Kath. Thanks again, Leanne. It was great for you to be here.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Juanita Fourie, who organises New Zealand's social media conference, and she's an online business specialist. Juanita, thanks for joining us.
Kath, thank you so much for having me here, and thank you to the audience for having me here too.
So there seems to be a lot of pressure these days to have a presence online, and a lot of people aren't really doing it very well.
Yeah. I think that people have moved on from the you have to be online, because you really do if you have a business. But yes, a lot of people don't do it very well. So you think about everybody wants to be on all the social channels, and then they're not consistent. They don't really post, they don't really engage, they don't really interact with their customers. And that's pretty much one of the biggest problems that happens with customers online.
So let's take it step by step.
Yeah.
Firstly, most people have a website. What advice would you give people about their website, first of all?
Yeah. I think the first thing is make sure that your website is mobile compatible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, mobile responsive is what we say. Mobile responsive simply means that the website can downsize onto any mobile device or any gadget. So an iPad, an iPhone, a Samsung, whatever. It sizes down properly, and then you can read the text properly and you can see the photos properly.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is to make sure that you're contactable. So when you think about people trying to get hold of you, there's so many websites that don't have the telephone number on it.
Yeah, or it
as simple
takes a
as
lot
that.
to
Yeah.
find it. That's annoying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They'll have a contact page, but most times people don't even go to the contact page. So really have the telephone number straight up front on your website. And then of course your content is really important, and it needs to flow. Think about your website as a shop, you know, the online shop. And if somebody was coming to your shop that was a brick and mortar store, they'd be walking through it and they'd be looking for certain things, and it would be organized a certain way. Well, that's what your website should look like.
And then, so that's your website. That's just tarting your website up a little bit to make
Yes.
it actually worthwhile. Then with social media, we touched on starting with just one rather
Yeah.
than being
All over.
Yeah.
If you've got a younger crowd, and this does depend on your audience and your tribe, we call them tribes online now. So if you have a younger crowd, for example, say 18 to 25-year-olds is your customer base, be on Instagram. Instagram is one of the fastest growing social media channels. If you sell crafts, for example, be on Pinterest. And you can sell anything on Pinterest that you want to, but you really need to know where your tribe hangs out, and then you go to that social media channel and try and be good at it.
Right.
Try and be consistent with it.
Okay. And so when you think about something like Facebook, I mean, really, most people seem to just be posting their holiday snaps. Is there
Yeah.
really any value in that?
I think it's about creating a personality, an online presence. So the real first step to take when you're doing social media is to understand what your strategy is.
Yeah.
And then to understand how does that align to your actual business strategy. Because you can't have, you can't be just posting randomly.
Yeah.
So you've really got to have it aligned to your business strategy. But I'd say to you, people also want to know that there's a real person behind your company if you're running on a company page. And yeah, posting the holiday snaps are not necessarily a bad thing as long as you're adding the whole, or you're giving it a bit of a little business bent, or you know, you're making sure that people know that there's a real person.
Yeah. And how often would you post on Facebook or?
Oh, so to be consistent on Facebook, you at least need to post once a day.
Wow.
At least. They say 3 times a day is pretty good for posting.
3 times a day?
Yeah, the newsfeed changes every 2 hours on Facebook.
Yeah.
So it depends on how often people are, your tribe, your people are sitting on Facebook, and how often they're there.
Yeah.
Will depend on whether they see your post or not. Facebook have what they call algorithms that change. It's called EdgeRank, so it changes, you know, what people can see and what people can't see.
Right. Okay.
So-
And tell me a bit about the social media conference. How did you
Oh.
decide to organise that?
Well, we started it last year, really to engage small to medium business owners. There's a lot out there for people that are actually in the social media world, you know, social media managers. There's so many meetups and things like that, but we found that there was a gap for small to medium business owners, and to really keep them up to date with what is happening, and also to take the fear out of social media completely. And so we started last year, and this year we'll be running on the 18th of September. And I'm very excited to say we've got Anna Stretton talking.
How exciting.
And we have, we've got Google talking, we've got Facebook, and there are a few more speakers that need to be confirmed, and I'll be talking, so we'll look out for that.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
there'll be lots to learn at that event.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. There'll be heaps to learn at that event.
Brilliant. And can you give us one final tip before you go? Out of all of that intelligence, what one thing should people do?
The one tip is to make, oh gosh, the one tip is just not enough. Can I say to you 2?
Okay, I'll give you 2.
The one is to make sure that everything aligns with your strategy as a business owner. And the second is to be consistent and be authentic.
Yeah.
I think that was 3.
That was nearly 3. Brilliant.
But that's okay.
Thank you so much for all your tips. Thanks
You're
so much.
welcome. Thank you, Cass. Thank you.
That was brilliant. Jessie Wild is here. Jessie, welcome.
Great to be back. Great to be back for the new season.
And tell me, who is recording in the studio right now?
We have a great singer-songwriter named Shania Lee Sadie.
And what can you tell me about Shania?
Well, she's 15 years old.
Wow.
She's from Albany here in Auckland. Goes to Rangitoto College. Wonderful songs, great guitar playing, and a beautiful voice.
Ooh, can't wait. Let's hear from Shania.
Let's do it.
Whenever you feel alone, just know that you can reach me on the phone. When you feel like life's not fair, just know that I will always be there. When you feel like giving up, when you feel like you've had enough, when you feel like it's all over, turn around, I can be your shoulder that you lie upon, that you cry upon. When you feel like the world's against you, it's okay, I've had those days too. But you always need to keep on looking up. But you always need to keep on looking up. I know just how you feel when you look around and you're not there. There's a crowd, but you're alone, standing in the middle, wishing you were home. When you feel like giving up, when you feel like you've had enough, when you feel like it's all over, turn around, I can be your shoulder that you lie upon, that you cry upon. When you feel like the world's against you, it's okay, I've had those days too. But you always need to keep on looking up. But you always need to keep on looking up.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Now, you wrote that song,
I did.
and how did you come to write it?
A little while ago last year, I had this very close friend that had moved from another country, and he had felt like no one would remember him if he went back. And he was texting me about how he felt like no one really cared if he was there or not. And I was like, I care, because he was really close to me. So I felt for him. My heart went out to him. It was a terrible feeling to have, feeling like no one would remember you. And it just came to me. And it was quite amusing, because that was the only song I can ever describe what it's about. So.
Because quite often you ask people, well, why did you write that song? They go, oh, not sure. So,
Yeah.
But you've got a band as well.
I do.
That's right. The band's called Limitless, and they competed last year on the Rock Quest. Is that right?
We did. We got to the regional finals, which was really amazing. It was an amazing experience, and
exciting.
we're going to be competing again this year.
Good for you.
That's awesome. And we've already done an album in the studio, which had, I think, 1 or 2 originals on it and a few covers. And this year we're going to focus on getting some more of your covers, so your originals recorded.
Mhm.
So I'm really looking forward to that. So where can we hear your music?
My band and I have a YouTube channel, Limitless NZ. So we have a few videos, covers up there.
Fantastic. Check that out.
And you guys have also got a Facebook page?
We do, Limitless NZ.
Yeah, we all have to be on Facebook. We learnt that today.
Excellent. So thank you very much for coming in. It was beautiful music, and I'm really looking forward to hearing more.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
My thanks to all my special guests, to Bruce, to Leanne, to Juanita, to Shania, and our very own Jessie Wild. And until next time, don't wait to wake up your wow. Wow, okay, so I didn't expect you to stop then.
I could have gone another 12 hours. But
I know, I'm like, this is easy.